We'll call for the special meeting for the corporation, the Township of Brunel and Dr. Diamond, this 21st day of June, 2023 at 7:02 p.m. As we gather this evening, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee, our council and our community, that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. We are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. Roll call, Councilor Banks.
Here.
Councilor Campbell. Here. Councilor Keller.
Here.
Councilor Quad.
Present.
We have a quorum. Do we have any dodge on me? No. I'll go to this there. You're on the roll call. We have a motion that the council of the corporation, the township of Brunel and Dr. Ryden adopt the agenda as submitted. Can I get a mover for that, please? Moved by Councilor Keller, seconded by Councilor Banks. Any questions or comments? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion is carried. The purpose of our meeting tonight is to review the zoning amendment application at 3351 Letterkenny Road. We had sent notice to all of those that received notice last time. And it doesn't look like from the comments we have received or anything that there's anyone that has any different comments than from the last time. So we have taken all of those. Our meeting tonight is to, hello.
Excuse me, Matt. I do have a different approach. It was, we unfortunately couldn't make the June 7th meeting, but
Okay.
we gave a question to Kevin Quad,
Okay,
which was asked, which was, will the owner be on site doing the operation of the business?
okay,
That requires sort of a yes or a no answer. And their answer wasn't yes, so I'll take it as being no.
okay.
So I have some more follow-up on that. 10
Okay.
minutes, just to go over those.
Yeah, if you can,
Sure.
less than 10, it will be great.
Okay. At your discretion, I'll let you finish sorting it around, but
Okay, and I have to ask first if there's any disclosure of pecuniary interest with anything on the agenda this evening from the members of council.
Not by me.
Okay, see you now. Okay,
okay. All right, good evening. As mentioned, my name is Don Barnett, and with my wife Janet, we live at 3258 Letterkenny Road. Just to give you context, it's about 500 meters southwest of the proposed campground. As I said, I couldn't make the June 7th meeting. We did ask Kevin, Ward 1 Council, to ask that question. Will the owner be on site during the operation of this business? It requires a yes or no. Since the answer was a yes, then the answer is no. And currently, nobody lives on the property. So my follow-up to that question is, then how will this business owner deal with noise, inappropriate behavior, capacity limits, and campfires? Now, it's timely with the campfires because they have a potential to turn into wildfires. So is this offsite owner who is receiving a revenue, shifting the responsibility and the burden to the neighbors to enforce their rules and regulations? And I have contacted 3 owners of local campgrounds to discuss how they handle common infractions to their rules. And those 3 campgrounds, Okeaco Mountain Resort on Clear Lake, Golden Lake Park on Golden Lake, and Covered Bridge Campground on Round Lake, Bonnechere River. So some of those common infractions are noise violations, fighting inappropriate behavior, capacity limits, parking violations, and again, large or illegal campfires. And I have a copy of the rules, if anybody would like to take a look at it. Now, all 3 of these campground owners live on site. So they're available when their renters are on their property. All these businesses do not ask their neighbors to enforce their rules. So one of the infractions I listed or just mentioned was campfires. Well, currently the township, County of Renfrew, and all Ontario's 36 fire zones are in a complete fire ban. The renters at this campground will want to have campfires every night. That's part of camping. And who is enforcing a fire ban if the owner is not there? As we all know, wildfires don't respect property lines. So the neighbors are at risk. It's not only in times of a total fire ban, but when campfires are allowed, there's no one there to regulate and enforce the size of it. Some people think a campfire is 2 logs, while other people 10, 15 logs. This is why we have fire bans. This is not for people who respect the rules, but for ones who do not. I'll just quickly go through those, as I mentioned, those 3 campgrounds with the owners on site, how they register their guests. You can register online, or you can call directly to the campground. The day you arrive, the owner is on site to take payment. Then you sign an agreement to the campground's posted rules and regulations. And if one of the rules and regulations are broken, all 3 of the campgrounds have a policy of first warning the renter of the infraction. If they don't comply, then the renter is asked to leave. If they don't leave, as a last resort, the owners contact the Killaloe, Ontario Provincial Police. What these applicants are missing, since they're not on site, is the first 2 steps. The warning and the asking to leave. Does this mean the applicant is asking the neighbors to enforce these 2 steps? These are 2 important steps, warning and asking to leave, that can de-escalate an infraction, while the OPP stage will escalate already a bad situation. This applicant is shifting the burden of a key important part of their business to the neighbors to contact the OPP. And there's no self-service at this location. So even their own renters can't call the OPP. And in fact, the OPP will not address capacity issues. So there's a potential for unlimited, unregulated renters at the business. And once renters figure out there's no one to enforce the rules, what's stopping them from having 100 people on site? As there is no one on site to enforce the rules, then there are no rules. You are potentially cramming 30 to 40 people on 5 acres with different definitions of a vacation. You may have a family of 4 who wants to go to bed at 9. You may have another group that want to stay up late. You're going to have disagreements and fights with your own renters. And I purposely said cram, because when you come to Letterkenny, you don't see 30 to 40 people in 500 acres. If the applicant had reached out after purchasing or coming to a decision to run this type of off-site business, we would have had more time to discuss these important concerns and issues. This was not the case. They have not contacted me or, best to my knowledge, any of my neighbors. Even after the June 7th meeting, And one neighbor at 3421 Letterkenny actually lives on his property and shares a property with this potential business. It is paramount that somebody be on site full-time during all times of renting these tents. Do you want the neighbors to enforce your rules? Now, I ask, are you willing to be on the property at all times when any of your tents are rented to enforce your rules? And also just,
Can we?
sure,
Yeah, sorry, unfortunately, thank you for all your research. Unfortunately, you weren't available on the 7th, but we already pointed out, if you look at the domes, there's 11 domes, one is ours. So eventually, I believe we expressed to everyone that we will be, the plan is to eventually retire here. During the operation, we will have employees. Obviously, it's a 24-hour, will be guarded. And this is not like just a conceptualized, online business. This was really thought through process because eventually we want to be in the lot.
so the answer is no, because you said eventually. You will have employees to clean the tents, but will they be there every time a renter is in the tent?
Yes,
Yes.
I don't have the presentation of the business plan. This is, even the bank is expecting us to be there. Like, it's not just gonna be run because we're spending
But now
money.
you're saying you're gonna be there, you just said you're not gonna be there, but your employees.
We will be here together with the wall.
Every time any of those tents are rented.
Yeah.
I just said there will be
Okay.
11.
So
I just need clarification, it wasn't said in the June 7th meeting, I did watch the video.
during the June 7th meeting, we were asked if we are to move here, and I believe we answered that our plan is to be the part of the team.
Plan to, that's where my
Yeah,
self,
if you ask us to move, let's say now, there's no place for us to move.
okay, we make it simple. The simple is that for okay, so it's not offsite. So you're saying anytime any of those tents, I can come down and meet either yourself or an employee.
Yes,
Once it's operational, right now. Yeah.
Absolutely, but when it's operational.
Yeah, so when it comes to your concern in terms of how we're going to control the crowds, and you mentioned that it's good for 30 people campers. The plan is whoever comes in will have a tag. And we are employees,
it will be controlled.
it will be, if you don't have a tag, you're gonna go out.
So there's gonna be a permanent employee on site all the
Yes.
time.
Operation.
So like, when do you guys plan to have this up and running? When, like 1 year? 2
Well,
years?
the bank is, so we have a loan, aside from our capital. So one of the requirement is to finish the zoning. So then it's all depend on when the zoning will be done, and then we can really proceed. I don't see it happening, this year because of all the work that needs to be done.
So they're very small.
So there would be like strict rules in terms of how account would be run. We will also consult with our legal on what is our right, what is the right of the campers in terms of expelling them. So this is not just an overnight thing that we have in mind. This is a thoroughly thought process of business. We have a business plan. We will consult with all of our legal to ensure that we are covered, we are protected, the neighbors are protected, the campers are protected, with all of the rights.
And that was not said during the June 7th. As I said, I wasn't there, but that was not said. So this is something after the June 7th meeting.
It's probably nobody raised that question.
Yeah, because like,
I know Kevin raised that question, and it wasn't outlined about the
in
business
terms
plan.
of,
And I know, talking with Lindsay, I mean, because of privacy act, we're not neighbors, we're probably not privy to your business plan. But you're saying here now, and again, if that's the reassurance, then actually, I got it. We need some reassurance. Now, it's being recorded, is that you've said somebody will be there when it's operational. So as long as that's part of the amendment. So as long as it's in writing, it's part of it.
yeah, it's not an operation where you go online, you come in, you have, as you do the passcode, it's not gonna be like that. It's like a old standard camp where you have employees who maintains like the surroundings, housekeeping, reception, those kind of type of.
Pretend don't. I mean, as long as you're saying it here,
It's the-
we'll come back when it's not, because. So as long as that's being done, that's my concern.
It wouldn't be fair to us to have the labor call or monitor all the campers. That's not gonna happen.
We agree.
Okay,
All right. So I want to thank Lindsay for taking the time to explain the rural zoning. Tammy, sorry. Virginia at the town office for allowing me to speak. Finally, I want to thank council for the time of returning my phone calls and listening to this concern.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
okay, so I think we have listened to all of the comments. Some of them have been addressed, like, is it a new concern or is?
I'm not sure whether it was raised on the seventh. I wasn't here on the seventh. My question is, what are you going to do to prevent your guests to wander off on neighbors' properties?
We will provide like fence on the side. I believe we provided that on the response. It would be not a fancy fence, obviously, but just to make sure that we are properly putting in fence for the
So all around the 5 acres,
Yeah, we will put visible enough fence
right?
for the campers to see that here's where the property line is. Unfortunately, we cannot control campers if they go overboard, but for us, we believe as long as we have proper markers, this is our property line.
I tend to disagree. It is your business. So you have to control the people. You cannot say, I
Well,
cannot control. that.
well, no, if someone goes over the fence or under the fence, they can't control that, but then the property owner where they have went over onto can call the OPP because it is trespassing. And it's a civil matter. It's not something they can deal with. We can't deal with it. It's a civil matter. It's the same as if someone comes onto your property off the road and decides they're gonna do something. You call the OPP. There's nobody else to help.
Well, if somebody comes off the road, that's a totally different story than coming from a private property.
Well, even from your neighbor's property, it comes over onto yours, you.
Markings would be very visible, making sure that when the guest comes in, it will be mentioned that you are just bound to be on this property.
It will all be stated on the rules within the camp. They would sign it, papers and everything.
And you're gonna be on site. Or an employee will be on site.
Yeah, but like if I am at the reception area and it's a 5 acre and one of my campers go at the end of the party, the camp, how would I be able to monitor? I'm not gonna be an owner where I go follow all of my campers just to ensure. that
On site means on site. Yeah, no, absolutely.
We already answered that. We will exercise this.
The thing that did not come up is, I'm not sure where you are of the hunting season, the hunting season in our area. Usually campsites, they don't operate in the winter, but you said last meeting that you're planning to operate all year round. So, from about middle of October to middle of December, the owners on the various properties are allowed to hunt deer if they have all the requisites. It's so people fire with light ammunition with crossbows and things like that. It is that's a time when it gets very dangerous because the hunters, they walk around in orange, so they are visible. But I don't think your guests will sport an orange outfit.
Yeah, but
Okay, I think we're getting off topic here. We listened to concerns. Hunting season is something they're gonna have to learn about, deal with it. Maybe they'll wanna close for that period. Who knows? It's something they're gonna have to learn in their business, but I think we've listened to the concerns. We can sit here and listen to the same thing over and over for another 2 hours and we're still not gonna be anywhere. So I think what we have to do now is decide what we're going to do. And maybe Lindsay, you can go through the planning report and the requests that were made, like for different studies. I know we had a PowerPoint that was, someone wanted to show tonight, and again, it was the same things like what goes on in other campsites, the food trailer, you know, if it was gonna cause traffic. Well, we dealt with that at the last meeting. It's only for on-site people, so it's not gonna cause additional traffic, the trailer, for food.
Can I say something there? It was said it is meant to be for on-site people, but it doesn't mean it is exclusively.
That's what they said.
That's what they said.
Sure, anybody else?
I think it's best to allow Lindsay to do a report. and
Yes.
Address some of the concerns.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've read it.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
It's
If you have
covered,
other questions at the end of
Yeah.
that, that'll be the time to ask.
Sure, thank you, Mayor. So do you want me just to kind of go just through the analysis part? Because it's not like I have time to read like the background, the OP and zoning.
yeah.
Okay, so,
Can you pull it out?
I tried that, can't. It's a little.
Yeah.
Give Lindsay a minute.
It's on the agenda.
Other side.
It's posted on our website.
It was posted. Yeah.
Older version.
It was posted on the website this morning. No, it was posted yesterday. I have to post it 24 hours prior to the meeting.
Well, I checked yesterday many times and it wasn't there. So I have a copy and I don't sure and I don't speak to it.
so I'll just go. Please. So this is just our background information about what the applicant has submitted. We've gone over it, to a maximum of 10 dome tents. We just did some background on the site and what the proposal is going to be. So they did have in the report that the applicants have indicated that the coffee bar will be exclusively for campers. So we snack bar type of service with maximum seating capacity. The applicant did provide an updated site plan that does show the fencing along trees on site, and then they are going to plant new trees along the front. So just going through the provincial policy statement. So the provincial policy statement does permit uses such as resource-based recreational uses and residential development. It does permit and promote recreational and tourism in rural lands. The property is designated as rural and environmental protection in the County of Vancouver official plan. So this rural designation permits a variety of uses such as agriculture, forestry, limited low density residential, commercial, recreational, institutional. So section 5.3 of the official plan gives policies for recreational development. I do go through it later on in the analysis part, so I'm just gonna skip down here. And all these I can go through in the analysis part, so just keep going. The property is zoned as rural marginal with some Shunar wetland. As we all know, the tourist commercial campground is not permitted, so that will be rezoning. So the applicant did submit a hydrogeological study that was completed by JP2G consultants. So this report looked at the site suitability for development based on the individual private services. So does it have suitable potable water?
and house the quality and quantity of the water as well. And then it also looks at the septic system to make sure that that site is capable of having a septic system. So they did indicate that the site is suitable for the installation of a new septic system up to the 11 domes. So we did receive a number of comments and concerns from the public, so which kind of them into topic. We did receive comments from the County of Pembroke, or County of Pembroke Public Works Department. There was a letter that was submitted in advance of the last public meeting. I didn't see that letter until this week. So when I was doing my updated report, I did have a chance to talk to the Public Works and Engineering Department. Their previous letter stated that they want to know about the capacity for the eating establishment. So they thought there was going to be a restaurant there, open to the public. So they just wanted confirmation of what was going to be on the site. I did indicate it's going to be a coffee bar, snack bar only for the 10 domes. And so they have amended or sent a new letter saying that they do support this proposal. And the owners would just be required to get a change of use entrance permit. And they are required to probably do some tree cutting or some brushing in order to improve the sightlines. So just had a comment here that the owner should contact the Public Works Department in order to meet these requirements. So just going through the official plan. So as I said, the property is designated as rural. And section 5.35 provides policies for the recreational and open space uses and the tourism related development. So this would be the campground. So there are a number of things that you have to consider when we're looking at this proposed development. So the impact on recreational uses along the water body. This property does not have direct water frontage, and Gorman Lake is located across the road. Talking about natural features, so there are no natural features in accordance with the initial plan. There is just the wetland that is located on the property. The aesthetic appearance, it is a heavily treed property, and that must have indicated a majority of the trees are going to remain on site, as well as planting additional ones. So we also have to look at the suitability of the site. So this, we're talking about either communal or individual on-site servicing, and they did provide a hydrogeological study. And then it talks about having to do rezoning, which is what we're here for. The applicant did submit the site plan that shows the location of all their proposed domes, as well as any additional buildings such as coffee bar and their reception. We talk about other policies in the official plan, so I did have some of those mentioned below. So the rest of these don't really apply to this proposal. Buffering and land use capability. So the official plan does say, like, when there are different uses that are about, efforts have to be made to avoid conflict. So the residential uses are, approximately 100 meters away. And 75 meters from the south. So the property is considered to be large and treed, and efforts to maintain the forest cover to reduce noise should be considered when taking into consideration the wildland fire risk. So again, the applicant did say that they are going to conserve the trees on their property. So for commercial uses in the official plan, there are some other policies that we have to consider. So it talks about having direct access to public roads. So we know that the property has frontage on Letterkenny Road. And they are proposing to be set back. Off-street parking, they have indicated an area that would be suitable for the parking that is set back from the road. Access points, so they just have the one site and it will be a commercial entrance. So they'll talk to the Planning and Public Works Department. Buffering, we've talked about having existing and new trees will be used for buffering, and they've also proposed a fence along the property line. These next ones don't apply to our proposal here. And then they're talking about the next water supply, and they have submitted a hydrogeological investigation in support of that. And then again, the rezoning So the property does have some wildland fire risk on there, so we just recommended that they need to clear around certain structures in order to decrease that risk. So for natural heritage features, the only thing they have on the property is the wetland, and there's no site alteration or development permitted within the wetland, and they've not indicated there's going to be any development there. The hydrogeological investigation has been done, so it's the site is suitable. It's on County Road. It's from the Public Works Department. So under the parking requirements, there is ample room to meet these minimum parking standards. And then I looked at the site, it didn't appear that a couple of the domes would meet the setback there, so they would just have to move them over. We're not going to put in an exception zone for that. They would just, there's enough room on the site, so they could just go closer inward and meet the distance there. So we did have a number of public concerns. The first main topic was about Letterkenny Road, but again, the Public Works Department for the County Renfrew is not opposed to the development, and they will move forward past commercial entrance. Landscaping. There's comments about the public beach, but this is not a planning concern. It's not applicable to this proposed development. With Gorman Lake, again, like this is not a planning concern. It's on the other side of the road. The septic system and the campground are sufficiently buffered, so not to have an environmental impact on the lake. The question was, do they have deeded access? So again, this is not a planning concern regarding this proposal, and any future visitors of the campground would have the same access as everybody else because it is the public beach. The fact that there was no permit, the township indicated in the last meeting that the septic tank has not been installed on the property. So any construction of buildings or the septic system would require a permit, and they have to apply for that with the township. There's talk about the development on the bridge. So these are potentially other severances or developments in nearby areas. So what other people have done on other properties, such as severances, does not affect this proposal. Camping on the island. Again, this is not a planning concern regarding this proposal. The future conservation and the environmental impact. So the environmentalists have stated that their main purpose of the development is to be with nature, and they will preserve the trees as much as possible on the property. And then the area proposed doesn't have any significant natural environment heritage features other than just the wetland. Well, mentioned that it's a congested area and having a store and restaurant. However, so we ruled out the fact that it's for other people and it's only supposed to be for the campers on site. A decrease in wildlife. This property is quite large. It's 5.41 hectares in size, and the development is only supposed to be on 2 hectares. So the remainder of the property is to remain as is. And again, there's no development allowed on the environmental protection and stream wetland lands. Overnight campers, we can't deal with that. It's not a planning concern. Trespassing, and talked about that. It's not a planning matter. We dealt with the OPP. The expansion of additional domes. So the way when we created the zoning bylaw, we did limit it to a maximum of 11 domes on the property. So if they were to increase, they'd have to come back to do another zoning bylaw amendment. And it would also trigger an update or a new hydrogeological study. And late night noise. So if noise became an issue, the township could pass and enforce a noise bylaw that regulates the noise, which is the recommendation. So this application is permit a tourist commercial establishment meets the criteria and the policies of the official plan. This development is not anticipated to have negative effects on the natural environment. The beach is owned by the township, and if any issues arise, the township has the ability to take action. If the night noise becomes an issue, again, the township could pass a noise bylaw. It is recommended that the zoning bylaw amendment be slightly modified to indicate that the coffee snack bar is only for the use of the campground visitors and not to the traveling public. And if the council is supportive of the zoning bylaw amendment and this proposed provision under section 3417, council is required to determine that if the change is considered to be minor, whether further public notice is necessary. So it is our staff's opinion that this is a minor revision and additional public notice is not necessary. This proposal is consistent with the community policy statement. It does conform to our County Provincial Plan. We did, as part of the agenda package, update to the zoning bylaw amendment. So I put in a new definition in there, that instead of having a eating establishment, it's called a coffee/snack bar. And then I made a new definition, and it just says it's only for the campground, for the campers, and it can't be for anybody, the traveling public. So that's a way of enforcing. There's no way that they can open it up to everybody else because it is in the bylaw. Do you have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. Okay. First of all, you realize that there are 12 domes on the
So there's a fun fee on the property?
No, there's 12 domes. There's 10 camping domes, private dome, and the dome that was for the snip.
So that's a different.
That's 12 domes, not 10, not 11, which 10 and 11 are always mentioned.
That's not good, yes.
Yeah,
It's
that's,
not for
that's a snack bar.
Snack bar.
So they're just calling it a dome. I think they mentioned it in the last meeting. It's a dome because they want to have a uniform shape. So it's called a snack bar.
It's still a dome. It's still a dome, and all of those, there's 12, and all of them will have bathrooms. And also in here, it said small kitchen pantry. So they have upped the use of water. They haven't shown that in their site plan. And the parking is not shown in the site plan anymore. So where is the parking?
The
parking
is shown on the site plan.
Not on the new one.
There are multiple, I just put the newest one in the bylaw or in this report,
Yeah,
just to show, because we did have the other.
there's no parking, there's no
So
parking.
they're still in. So.
So is there going to be parking down where it was before?
Yeah.
And is there going to be parking at each dome?
No, the parking would be just like one central parking. We're not gonna be permitting.
Will they
parking
be able
beside
to
that.
unload at their dome and bring their car back?
The plan is for us to provide that type of service and assisting the campers to bring in.
So that's not in here either.
Well, I mean, we can take care of minute by minute operation.
Those things are asked for on the site plan.
Well, and the water thing, that was all provided for in the hydrogeology report,
And
that there is adequate water and sewage for those buildings.
And according to the study, they say there is, but the site plan also doesn't show where the well is. So the site plan is missing many things.
I believe it all encompasses the report that it says there will be an output of 7,000 liters per day. That would be covering all of the, including what you're.
Where is it on the site plan?
And include everything in the site plan. That
It's
is,
asked for, it's asked for in the list in the county plan.
it was mentioned on the hydrogeological study that the output would be 7,000, which is,
The parking is keep on hold. With that, in that, public, in the resources. We did try to complete the application. All we submit, and we will call that it's going to be site plans and application. We push through, or submit. If there is something that we miss, we actually don't know, because that we were told that our application is complete in terms of all the environment. We never made any changes in terms of removing the parking space from the original submission to the revised. So we haven't changed the plan. The only thing that we revised as per request is to indicate the perimeter fences in the property. And put some place to indicate that on the frontage, We will retain all the old trees and at the same time plant uniform cedar trees to be as like the contours of the campsite. Most of this only the changes that we need already site. That's the quick questions and
With the septic, and with that, filter that, or you know,
I'm not sure, but
I know you mentioned that John was told you to do the work.
we are required.
I was wondering whether it was leakers or filter bed. Filter bed gives you a smaller footprint, right?
I
That's what I
think
was
that would be, it's so that I did, you want to start.
They're the expert of that.
I was just thinking if it's a smaller footprint, that's what I was asking. I was thinking it's probably filter bed, but I don't know. Yeah, because then your septic has a smaller footprint.
Well, they'll have to.
All the
meet
permits,
All the,
and
yeah.
all the setbacks.
all required.
Yeah, between the well and the filter, that all has to be,
And the septic has to be sited before you can figure out where the well's going to
that's right,
go.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Those are all places, like building, that's the same idea.
Yeah, so rest assured, if our resolve application is granted, we will not do anything until a permit is complete.
yeah,
Everything, it has to be permit, all complies to the timelines and.
correct.
We will not-
Okay. So I think now it's up to council to say how they feel.
Well, like I said at the last meeting, my biggest concern was the public beach across from your train site. As it is now, it's the township. Apparently there was complaints that it wasn't picked up enough. I don't know,
Yeah, it varies throughout the year, of course, and in the summer, it flows over quite regularly.
Well, you know, like, it's such a small area and maybe the township's gonna have to look at putting some rules and regulations out there. Maybe that site will have to be gated. It'll only be open so many hours. That would alleviate the overnight parking for campers or whatever. So, I mean, we're hearing now that, you know, like it's overused. So we may have to look at putting some rules and regulations in out there.
That would be a major impact on us people that live around there that use the beach now on whenever we want to do. So what you're saying is basically because somebody's putting a business in, we cannot use the lake in the same way as
No,
we used to.
I didn't say that. I'm saying that we heard at the last meeting that the beach was over full and too many vehicles there. So, I mean, we were told that at the last meeting.
I don't know who said that, it's not.
No, that's true. That's true. There are too many vehicles there when if you've got 3 trucks in there with trailers on for boats, it's full.
I don't think we can gate it though, because there's fishermen, though.
There's no room to park.
It is, but I mean, it's first come, first served, right?
Yeah.
You can't gate it and block the fishermen out.
And just to add something, when we're gonna build our advertising, we will mention that we are not encouraging RVs, boats to come, because we don't have the parking space to that.
Yeah, but those rules, again, you use encourage, the general public, today's society, what we live in, it's just the disrespect. So like you're asking for a revenue, all due respect, to say to somebody, we're not encouraging them. It's gonna happen, you're gonna have people park on, so if your concerns are that, they're gonna happen one of these days, day, like a hot July or August. Now, if that grounds enough to dismiss it or deny it, but to say you're not encouraging it, again, you have no control over the public. You're putting something that will attract the general public, and part of that element of the general public is disrespect. They won't respect your rules.
Okay.
Now, you
we'll
bet-
Get back to, I mean, even if they don't have the camping, we can still have people come in there and use that beach and cause many problems. It's public use.
It is, but you're now putting a business that attracts these 10 more group.
But we
You're
have-
obviously, it's a capacity, it's an issue.
I
If
would
that's your
realize-
concern. You're gonna get days that it's going, a hot July day, you're gonna have boaters that just can't fit in there, but they want their boaters in. They're gonna park along the side of the road. Now, you've met, like you said, as long as there's somebody there and it's written in before, then you can address it.
Okay.
Your answer is.
We keep going over the same things over and over and over. We have to make a decision on this. And if you don't want to sit and listen, then we'll have to ask you to leave the chambers because we need to have time to discuss and to make a decision on this. Okay, do we have a resolution?
What would you like?
Can you pull the resolution up there? I can't pull anything up on my computer tonight.
Mine's not on consent account.
Yeah.
Nothing alone.
This isn't working either.
Well, there's
Oh, there it is. So on the county has looked at this, they prepared it, they've listened to all the concerns. They've provided what guidance they could. So the resolution is the council, of the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindog, and Riley hereby determines that the change to the zoning amendment application is minor and no further public notice is necessary, and therefore council approves the zoning bylaw amendment as amended. So can I get a mover for that?
This is to discuss it, right?
This is to bring it to
So why
the
will
table
we
for
not
discussion. Moved by Councilor Hopwell, seconded by Councilor Banks. Okay, council, now's your turn. Who wants to speak first? Iris speaks first. She-
Well, like I said, my concern was the public beach. Because my initial thought, and I am being honest, my initial thought was, oh, how convenient. We have a campground now across from public beach, so you don't pay waterfront taxes and you get free use of the beach. But with Lindsay and all the notes now we got from county council, I personally don't like it, but I'm still gonna have to go ahead with it. So I know on my part, I haven't been
Councilor Banks.
Well, to me, they dotted all their i's, crossed all their t's, they looked into it very well. With what Lindsay said. Yeah, I can't see how we can deny it. So therefore I'm for it.
Who's up next, me?
Yeah.
Again, similar concerns around. And it's really a cost thing that the township will have to incur. There's definitely going to be a cost impact to the township and the taxpayers to up the cleaning and
Cleaning,
the maintenance of the beach for sure, and the pumping of the septic. I'm not sure what we're doing today, but in the busy time of the summer, we could be looking at doing that daily. That would be my only concern.
Right.
As far as meeting the requirements, the county does a fantastic job of a little bit of stuff. I've worked with county things in the past for myself personally. I wouldn't, like, the owners have answered the questions where I had concerns. I wouldn't be against it.
Tammy has just told me that the garbage at the beach is being doubled. And
It's a note to pick up.
Yes,
The garbage pickup.
the garbage. I missed the word. And the cleaning is now happening once a week, and in the summer that will have to be, you know, get more attention.
And as time goes on, I think it will require more review.
Yes.
If the campsite does go ahead, it will require us to look at potentially up to daily.
Yeah,
No, I think that for myself, I know most of the concerns. You know, have been addressed by the county, the concerns from the original open house, the public meeting. For you to come to the meeting tonight, I mean, it shows to me that at least you show some concern for the concerns of the residents that live there. And I'm hoping you go away and you're able to address those concerns in the future. So,
I just hope you're true to your word. That's all I ask.
yeah. And legally, we don't have a reason not to approve it. That's the problem. We're caught in the middle.
and really, I know, sorry, Madam Mayor, but really, I think if you went to any of our beaches on a hot summer day,
Yeah,
you'll find out that they're all over capacity.
yeah.
And there's nothing stopping anybody from going to that beach, to Gorman Beach, that's a tourist or anything else to stop there and go to and use the beach.
Yeah,
You could have 100 tourists there, even though they're not at their campsite. Stopping at that beach, yes, it's gonna be overcrowded. But what are we gonna do? Well, we can't do nothing because it's a public beach.
so I thank you, the public, for your interest in this and for the concerns you brought to us. We will do our best to make this easy for everyone involved. I know it's easy for me to say that when it's not in my backyard. It's goes back to this story, not my backyard, right? I think there probably would have been a more ideal location for your type of development if you would have had 100 acres, have frontage on the lake, and be able to contain and offer all the needs. And that,
Hoping in the future, we can look at this.
Pardon?
So I'm not rejecting it. Obviously, it's not an ideal situation. It's not.
Well, it's not, but when we as a council, when we are, an application is submitted to us, we send it out to have it looked at by planners. They look at all of the legislation, the provincial policy statement and everything. They look at the official plan. They look at, and from a planning perspective, there is no reason to reject that application.
I've heard that tonight numerous times, that there's no contradiction with the facts. But there are a lot of people sitting here, they are bringing up, we brought up a lot of reasons. Each individual reason might not be enough to do something about it, but collectively, there are so many concerns. My question to you guys who are the pros is, what can we do against it? We are just sitting like lame ducks because
Well, you can-
obviously the owners
You
have.
can appeal it. You
Yeah, but somebody said in the June 7th meeting, well, they are looking whether all the surveys are in, whether the approvals are in, which they are. And the Land Tribunal Board, very similar to the Ontario Municipal Board, we just say, hey, there you go, off you go. So where does that leave the people that live in the area? It leaves us stranded. I mean, I hear you are putting all the right words in about looking out to the beach and all that. But as Don said, It first has to get worse before it gets better. And this is not why we came into the area, why we live here. We are enjoying the standard of living, and we are welcoming new people that come in there, but at a cost that is not acceptable to us.
I know, and I feel bad really that we're giving you heartaches on shooting this business, but what can we say? I would want to guarantee that we will try, we will do our best, not even try. We will do our best not to disturb the neighbors. We will impose a strict rule in terms of, you know, the noise, the worry about the fire. It will be all implemented, because what we are attracting are those who really wants, you know, nature, who, it's not for partying, it's not for noise, it's more of you having to relax on this dome and, you know, not really a party place that we will encourage our guests.
Can I ask a question? How much are you gonna charge them for these things? Do you know yet?
We're thinking about 200.
Yeah, well, see, when you get to something like that, you're not gonna get kids like teenagers coming in. They wanna go someplace where it's free and camp.
You have no idea about the kids in the big cities, how much money they have.
Well,
Maybe the kids around here, but not in the big cities.
Yeah, we all due respect, it's not about an income. We're not trying to.
But I think-
It's just a society sort of thing. There's a lot of disrespect. So,
you know something?
said you'd be there, so.
Even if I lived in the city, I would think twice about $200 a night where I could go, out on Moccasin Lake there. There's a great big rock. People are out there all the time.
Wait, they'll get $300. You wrote the same article I did in Cotting Flight. $200 is the low season. You'll get over $300 flying on. That's
Maybe, I don't know. All the same. Same for,
fourth of us. So larger than.
I don't know about that. I don't-
Oh, no, they are.
I'm not, I'm just being too truthful. I don't know.
Okay, well, I think we're down to. I feel for both sides too, honestly, I do. I understand the dilemma you're in. Well, you know, like, hopefully, well, not hopefully, they do understand your concerns. And when they get up and they get running, they're going to try to circumvent problems. I do feel too that you're going to attract, a different bunch of people.
The clientele will be a little bit different.
Yeah, versus just out camping. I mean, it's the same when you go to Algonquin Park. You go to Algonquin Park, you don't go there to party, because that's not allowed. You know, so I think if they can get it off on the right foot, that hopefully everyone should be.
And I also think for the success of the business, that you'll want to integrate yourselves into the community as well. So you're not coming to be disruptive, you want to be successful. And you want to be part of the community at the same time.
Yeah, maybe have a meet and greet with your neighbors when you get it up and running, you
Yeah,
know.
that's why it's 11. The one, the 11 ones for us. We want to be part of the community.
Well, you have to be invested in your business yourself personally to be successful. You can't just turn something on and walk away.
No,
So if you're committed to be there, you're committed to have employees, that says a lot. Commitment to be here tonight says a lot.
Yeah, and I just wanted to address, we've been wanting to meet you, but we're like 5 hours away. And we come like on the weekends and we really feel bad bothering and knocking at your doors just to explain the idea.
I tried reaching out to one of my neighbors, I think it was like last year. So I'm not able using that, but so I was like walking on the driveway and I heard some dogs barking. So I was,
So, any other comments from council?
Yes.
Okay, Councilor Keller has asked for a vote, so.
Adam May? Maybe, yes.
This is just for your information, the beach, since she brought up the beach and your concerns about it. This, when I brought it up 3 weeks ago, the grass hadn't been cut. The garbage hadn't been picked up. The grass still hasn't been cut. The garbage still hasn't been broken twice, living throughout the long grass. And the bathroom isn't looking all that great.
Do we get Kevin to go out there and maybe?
Selling stuff out, and people keep bringing you problems.
The stuff at the beach has been there since the last year.
What was that?
Those bikes and the toys there have been there since last summer. All through the winter.
We have to get a staffing person to deal with that. We realize that we're caught in a catch-22 here. So our students are going to start one in a couple of weeks, so we'll be good then. So next year though, we plan to hire someone at the beginning of the season to be able to deal with those. We went through a lot of growing pains with staffing and so just, we also look at.
Also look at the sand because the grass has been.
Yeah.
We'll go over to you. Okay, so can I? You want to do the vote?
So, Councilor Cox?
Yes. Councilor Banks?
Yes.
Councilor Keller?
Over. I'm for as well.
Okay. Mayor? Yes. Yes.
Motion is carried. We got 5 yeses from members of council.
Good luck.
Okay, so we have another resolution here. Or is this just a?
That's just for those of the fields and everything where they're.
Okay, so I'll read the notice of appeal. Council is required by section 34, subsection 14.5 to inform the public who is entitled to appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal under sections 34:11 and 19 as follows. Section 34:11, if council decides to an application or refuses or neglects to make a decision on an application within 90 days of the municipal clerk receiving the application, the applicant or the Minister of Municipal Affairs may appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal by filing an appeal with the clerk of the municipality. Section 34:19, not later than 20 days after giving of notice of passing of the bylaw, the applicant, any person or public body who made oral press submissions at the public meeting or made a written submission to council before the bylaw was passed, or the Minister of Municipal Affairs may appeal to the Ontario Land Tribunal by filing an appeal with the clerk of the municipality.
Already the crossing.
The other,
It's not gonna get.
what's already?
Say coming.
Resolution.
I do have a quick question while we're waiting. When the site clicks up and running, will you have a landline put in for like emergency or 911 calls and things?
Yeah. We're still doing some research on what is the most reliable.
Yeah.
It has to be a landline. There is no.
No, that's what I know.
Found Captain Lewis there, and we had to go back to our, you know, that. From Belma. Off the road there in January 22, so you can't, there's no.
So that's what I meant, what's the most reliable landline that we can.
Yeah.
We actually subscribe to internet, that's Starlink,
Yeah,
so we will.
yeah, VoIP works pretty good with Starlink. Their latency time is good, so you don't have to delay.
Yeah, I tried it. I already have the units. I tried it one weekend.
Mhm.
Just like portable, like for one.
That works well. My house.
Yeah, campers are everyone, use their phones.
Yeah. Okay. We have a resolution of the council of the corporation of the township of Brunel, Lindog and Raglan. Hereby adopts bylaw 2023-36, being a bylaw to amend bylaw number 8708 of the former township of Brunel. And Lindog is amended, having been introduced and read first, second, and third time finally passed. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councilor Banks, seconded by Councilor Boyd. Any questions or comments? Tammy will clean up the little parts in there. Yeah, my voice is very now. So any comments or questions on
No.
that? Did I get a second for that?
Yep.
Comments? No, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Yeah.
Yes.
Opposed? Motion is carried. So, thank you everyone for your concerns. We understand. Safe travels back. Hopefully, we can all work together and make it successful.
That's the ideal goal,
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
successful
There's
integration.
going to be hiccups, but if we all work together.
Thank you.
But
Is the first, Scandic Road is?
It'll be in our.
Nice, good. So, yeah.
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 Yeah, it's kind of private.
Actually, is Brown, what's it, leaving all this out of town? Yeah. That Brown, down there on, Brown Road, I guess. Yeah,
Green Lake Ag? Like,
No.
like, right?
right down here, right off, right off of, there's no,
Yeah.
Everyone, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. So, yeah, we.
before we go into the closed meeting, I'd just like to report to council in the rocket bond at the Valley River on Friday.
Yeah, we money.
Yeah. Pay up your debts. Our township. Just Virginia and I, with your help. Turned in $1,555.
Oh, wow, nice.
Just. I don't know why they- But Wayne got $1,000 from his work.
Yeah.
So I had him go up. And take his rocking chair and rock for a while and present the
Oh,
$1,000.
nice. Good job, thanks.
Plus, he collected- plus, he collected
I
And
can't,
that's just from the guys in the shop.
I can't do that at work because I'm not allowed,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I cannot.
So thank you very much. That was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
That was really, really good.
Yeah.
Motion that the council of the corporation of the township of Blue Valley, South Dakota, closed session pursuant to the municipal act 2001, section 239, sub 2, for the purposes of subsection B, and item regarding personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and subsection D, and item regarding labor relations or employee negotiations. Can I get a motion for that? From Councilor, second by Councilor Bay. On the vote, all those in favor?
yes.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, have a resolution that council comes out of closed at 8:38 PM. Moved by Councilor Keller, seconded by Councilor Banks. In closed session, council discussed one matter regarding the award of an RFP contract and one item regarding employee negotiations. We have a resolution that council of the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindrock, and Raglan hereby approve the wages and hosting 4-week swim program within the township. Moved by Councilor Quad, seconded by Councilor Banks. Any comments or questions?
Well,
All those in favor?
yes.
Opposed, motion is carried. Of a resolution that we, the council of the corporation, the township of Brunel, Lindrock, and Raglan hereby adopts the bylaw 2023-38, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the June 21st, 2023 special meeting of council, having been introduced and read a first, second, and third time and finally passed. Can I get a mover for that? Councilor Banks, second by Councilor Quad. All those in favor?
Yes.
Motion is carried. I need the motion that this meeting adjourn at 8:40 PM, moved by Councilor Crockwell.
There's any